What is up, everybody? Good morning. I messaged Jake, but he has not responded yet. Uh-oh. I'm waiting for a response, but we do this every morning, so I wanted to make sure that I was here and available. So here we are. It looks like Jake is typing a message, so we're currently waiting to hear from the great Jake Jordan, see what is going on. There he is. Man.
Yeah, the computer went on automatic update this morning. I couldn't stop it. So I've got 9 minutes till I can come on the air, guys. Okay. So yeah, that's my morning so far. How are you, Bill?
Man, I was just like lamenting in my journal how I was irritated that my morning was not going according to plan. ICABW. It can always be worse.
That's right. That's
Man.
right. So, yeah. Morning, Bill.
Good morning, man. How's it going? Other than auto update.
Pretty good. And it's Big Sur. I didn't really want Big Sur yet, so I got screwed twice.
Why didn't you want Big Sur yet? Were you just concerned about bugs?
Yeah. I like to wait at least 2 weeks, at least, if not a month after updates come out. I'll let that stuff sort itself out, you know?
Oh, is that what this thing is on my computer that's saying, hey, you should update?
Yeah. You should wreck your morning. Go for it.
What does this button do? The whole thing just shuts down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Burp, burp, burp. You know, it pops up and it says, this is going to take about 2 hours. I'm like, guys, don't worry. 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that one thing in the office when he's got to open up PowerPoint for the very first time.
Oh, yeah.
And it shows up and it says, update will take about 7 minutes. He's like, 2 minutes, guys.
Yeah. Wait, you said you looked at this before the meeting. Sorry about that.
PowerPoint. It's funny to watch that show because at the time it seemed like they were doing a fairly good job of like keeping up with stuff, you know, and obviously it's not a live show anymore, but like watching it now and they're talking about issuing everybody Blackberries and, you know, PowerPoint and all of this stuff. It's like, oh yeah, 2008 was a long freaking time ago. That's right.
That is right. I would love to see some way to bring Dwight and Michael Scott into 2020 and just see how they're doing, you know?
Good morning, Levi.
Greatness. But,
man,
you know, like Steve Carell said, if they were a show now, they probably would have made it with all the political incorrectness that they had. You
think so?
That's what Carell said. He's like, we wouldn't have made it. People got too butthurt about our comedy.
You know, it's funny. I was watching, who was that? Robert Downey Jr. on the Joe Rogan podcast recently, and he was talking about Tropic Thunder. And
oh yeah, same.
They were talking about there's no way you can make that movie now because of how. Yeah. And like mentally in my head, I'm like, that movie wasn't that long ago, but I think it was like what 04, 05, so 15 years ago.
Yeah, there's been a lot of what changed politically and just like landscape culture wise, like some good, but you know how it goes. It's with the good comes the bad. Friends ran into that kind of trouble. Huh? Didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
But I'm not surprised. And which they weren't near as harsh as some of the other shows. Like Seinfeld was harsher than Friends when it came to banging on people. So that's actually how the show ended. Remember, they wouldn't help a fat guy. Oh man.
How was yesterday?
Man, today, man. This is how today's going. You asked me how yesterday was going, and I said today. Yesterday was epic Monday. Like I crushed Monday yesterday. Like I got so much done. So I have this list, right? I have this running list all the time. Actually, I'm on mobile today, so we can do a little walk.
Look at this. Look at this. We're behind the scenes, everybody, with Jake Jordan in his natural habitat.
That's right. The dog here that I'm complaining about from time to time. But the board here, right, has this running list of things that I'm trying to accomplish. This is what this was my my checklist before John brought in Excel and
the tracker,
technology and computers and
PowerPoint.
Yeah, exactly. So I was whiteboarding that stuff forever. I still do. Just there's something about physical. I like writing stuff down. It helps me process things. But anyway, I wrote this new list, and there's, I don't know, let's call it 15 things on that list that every day I want to accomplish because it helps me have the best day ever.
Yep.
Hit every single one of those things yesterday with time to spare. Got all my client work done. Got some really fantastic writing done. I mean, it was just hit after hit after hit. I got my workout done. Felt really good after that. Ate all the right food. I mean, just everything. It was one of those, you shut up, you knock it out of the park, and then you go to bed and like, let's do that tomorrow. Yeah.
And then you wake up to a Big Sur update.
Then tech.
I hope yesterday was good. I hope yesterday was good, Jake, because we're gonna ruin it for you today.
That's right. All the best. Wink, wink.
All the onboarding, attempts. Hey, let's show you what your new operating system can do, and that's going to be 45 minutes. Oh man. So, yeah.
How was your
dude? Man, well, first, I am thrilled to hear that your day went according to plan, right? Because so many days we start with this plan and maybe some scheduling and some time blocks and all this stuff, and so many times other crap gets in the way, right? So. When you were going to bed last night, did you have that moment of, what did I miss? Because I did too much? Because that's what I do.
Really?
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't have a what did I miss moment per se. I did have it can't go that good again. I really did. I was like, that was a grand slam, and you only have those every once in a while.
That is true. Good morning, Michelle.
And I'm gonna try to.
Uh-oh. Now we've got. Oh my God! Good Lord!
Sorry, I didn't have that on mobile, so I had no idea.
Yeah. Big Sur.
Yeah, that's me. Thanks, Big Sur.
The Apple attorneys are already waking up to come send you cease and desist letters.
Yeah, the bots have already relayed the information for 25 seconds. Yeah.
Are you
YouTube copyright? As soon as boom, you banned.
Yeah. The noon rebroadcast of this is never going to happen.
Never gonna happen. Sorry, the lucky few who got to see it this morning. The train wreck that I was will forever be forgotten. I'm okay with it.
Man, I got the best card in the mail yesterday from Michael Ryan and Karen Ryan, and every year they do two cards. They do one for their clients and friends and everything else like this. And I got that one last week, and it was just this little bitty dumpster that said 2020 and flames coming out of it, right? And so it's a card this big, right? And so the dumpster is very small, so you're having to look at, and it's nothing else on it. It's it was so great. Well, they have another one that they send out to, I guess, like friends and family, right? And I'm on that list, and man, it is so good. It's talking about the 4 horsemen of the 2020 apocalypse, right? No. And it's talking about warfare, right? The 4 horsemen are warfare, famine, pestilence, and judgment, right? And it's just talking about the way they did it was just so good, right? Because famine is, Michael, and he's wearing toilet paper on his head, like a hat, like a crown, and stuff like that. So it's very snarky. It's very, very good. I'm looking at it right here. I think that I think that the Christmas card done well is a forgotten art.
It is. Right? James, of course, does it well.
Oh, of course.
Awful dude. He's that guy. And they sent one this year with a Zoom screen. So you turn it on its side, and all her friendly are different Zoom, and they're all in poses. One has a mic, one has a lapel. Like James has the fire behind him, where he's just like, and it's got little quotes underneath what they're talking on a Zoom call and stuff. And that's the back side, and then the front side has like a traditional photo of his family, and of course he couldn't just leave it at that. He's wearing like a nice shirt on top, and it says business on top with a little arrow, and then his wife has like shorts on, and then it says Zoom business on bottom. So it was good.
On the other hand of the equation, I found a place online that it runs cards through like a computerized, like process driven machine. So you can create handwritten cards that you send out to your clients and your prospects and stuff like this. And they've got all these different fonts, right? And so you can pick a font that's like closest to yours. And since it's actually handwritten, like it's actually going through the steps of like writing out the letter, and so that way you can mail out letters to people. And I thought that was just a very cool idea, right? Because like I love getting a thank you note, but I have serial killer handwriting. So if I send somebody a thank you note, the FBI just gets involved because it's because somebody thinks that I'm the Zodiac killer. I mean,
easy because John Mulhaney that got tracked down by the Secret Service.
Look at it. I mean, it's terrible. Yeah. It's crazy. Nobody. I think so.
So. Who did this right here? Who just said something about being a serial killer or did something and they got investigated by the FBI or the.
You can't say bomb on an airplane. Bomb, 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 bomb.
Here come John. Did you see? Speaking of, I just loved this meme because Babylon Bee cracks me up. But the kid who got kicked off the airplane, the 2-year-old. So I think it was United Airlines. I don't want to get it wrong, but basically one of the big airlines. They had these people on flights with their 2-year-old kid, and their 2-year-old kid was just pitching the fit like a 2-year-old does, right? And wouldn't put on a mask. 2-year-old. They kicked them off the flight, which is questionable. It's a 2-year-old. There's supposed to be an age, I think, that it's okay, right? But let's say you're even okay with that. Then they ban them for life from flying from the airline.
A 2-year-old?
The whole family. None of the family is allowed to fly their airline anymore because their 2-year-old wouldn't put the mask on, which I think is ridiculous. I don't think he should have been kicked off the plane, honestly. But then banned for life. So Babylon Bee yesterday had one. They had this little 2-year-old playing with a scotch on the rocks. It said 2-year-old banned from airline for not saying Black Lives Mattered when asked to repeat it or something like that.
Wow.
So there's so much ridiculousness going on right now of just like snap reaction out to everything.
What's crazy is the right, like you hear about this stuff, and we're talking earlier about how some of these things that we enjoyed whenever we were younger wouldn't get made now because of everybody's like hypersensitivity and stuff like this.
Right.
And part of that I don't even see, right? Because I'm not like on the outrage machine of Twitter. Right. Yeah. And I feel like Twitter's the worst of these things, right? Because everybody's anonymous and everybody's a bot and it doesn't really matter. And so I don't go to Twitter because as bad as Facebook is, man, I open Twitter and I'm there for about 5 minutes and then I just go scurrying back to the like warmth of like Facebook, right? Which is not awesome at all. Yeah, not that warm. So I just find that really interesting to me, right? Because nobody thinks that they're that bad and nobody thinks that the label applies to them, but all this outrage has to be coming from somewhere.
Well, Twitter's like, it's almost like, what's the name of the media company that does all the gotcha media? That's all they do.
TMZ?
Yeah, TMZ. It's like TMZ on steroids, you know? It's like
Oh yeah.
Of the internet. Like if you want to drop a bomb, you go drop it on Twitter first. It doesn't matter what your target audience is. You go drop a bomb on Twitter because it's Twitter. And then you do the news story.
Yeah. I like this though. Levi, you're spot on, sir.
No.
Some 2-year-olds.
All 2-year-olds. You were so close. And actually for me, it was 3 for both my kids. Because 2,
really?
It wasn't terrible 2, it was terrible 3s. Oh.
I'm trying to remember.
2, they were still cute. 2, they were still figuring things out. Like 3 is when they were like, my will should be your
will be enforced.
This will happen. Otherwise I will pee on your walls.
We were talking to Alice the other day. We're talking about like there's a baby photo and we're like, God, you were cute. And then Melissa was like, well, I thought you were cute. Like Dad wasn't really paying attention. And I was like, what?
Wow.
And she was like, okay, that was meant to be funny.
Yes.
But it came out harsh. And I was like, okay, what do you mean? And so then it was, talking about how like the first 6 months of like a baby is like way more for the mom than it is for the dad, at least, that's how it was in my house. I was kind of like, oh, okay. Like, do you know who I am yet? Nope. Do I have anything for you? No, not really.
Yep.
Okay, great. Let's give you back to mom.
Yeah. I don't lactate. Sorry.
Yeah.
Although my,
I've got nipples, Greg.
I have a cat. I'll milk that. Yes, I agree with Levi. That is very true. I never attempted that. My son, my firstborn, was born at 28 weeks, so we had a little different situation. He was a preemie, so and he had acid reflux, real bad. So I spent many nights in the first 6 months with him crying and not sleeping. So that label didn't really apply to me because the first months were like, whoa.
Different strokes. Different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Different context.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I also had a pretty bang up day yesterday. Right. I wanted to make sure that like that I heard about yours because mine was pretty epic. I wrote maybe 3,500 words yesterday.
Wow.
Which I'm pretty happy about. Came up with a new process that I think is going to help like me and the rest of the team for like social media stuff. So essentially what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be like front loading like a lot of content, right? Just like in a creative sense, right? So the stuff that I wrote yesterday is kind of like meandering around concepts, like I wrote about mastery in the view of this show that I watched on Friday because man, how do you get excited to play something for the 300,000th time after 30 years of like having it in the catalog? Like that to me is really fascinating, right? Especially in a situation where you can't draw in the crowd at all. Talking about those kinds of concepts in one kind of big thing. And then, so what's going to happen is Melissa will go through that, turn that into like the blog post. And then we'll also be taking stuff that can be used on social because not every word of this is going to be like usable, right? So some parts of it will be social posts and everything else like that. So they're going to start stripping out social posts out of this stuff that kind of calls back to the main thing. And so that way, whenever we post the main thing, it's like, hey, we've been talking about this, go check it out here.
Right.
And the thing that I told Melissa yesterday, I said, look, I just want to like do my thing of like coach and deliver and do the things that I'm good at. And that is not marketing myself. So you get the sum of all my knowledge, right? In very rough formats. That way I just create because that's like I need to be writing. So I'm going to write, I'm going to give it to them. They will turn it into like content with like the pullouts and other people will be doing the marketing of me hopefully next year. So that way I don't have to do it, which would be great.
That's fantastic. I love the sound of that just because it frees you up to do the things you want to do.
Yes. Which is deliver.
Right. That's right. Do $50 work.
Yes. No. $1,000 work, sir.
Sure.
$1,000
as opposed to 5.
No, I know.
Yeah.
So I did that. Let's see. I told the girls last week, and one of my kind of things this week is to make sure that I meditate every day. I got a new meditation from Shivam and it's been pretty good. I've been enjoying it. So I'm like, okay, cool. I want to do this every day this week. So and also I'm trying to do these wrist exercises because I'm trying to rehab this wrist and strengthen it up. And I had told the girls, I was like, hey, if you see me and you know that I haven't done my wrist exercises or my meditation, like, please, like, nudge me about it, because I want to make sure that I'm thinking about it and it's not intentional. And so yesterday, the girls were going to go run an errand, and Alice comes up and she was like, hey, before I leave, have you meditated? Have you done your wrist exercises? And I said, no, babe, I haven't. And she was like, you think you can get that done while we're gone? And I was like, yeah, I think I can get that done while you guys are gone. And she was like, okay, cool. So we'll see you in a little bit, and then you'll be done with that, and then we can do other stuff. And I'm like, God, you're just framing me so hard right now, and I freaking love it. Yeah. All the expectation setting on the planet, I love it so much. It's fantastic.
Man, so good.
So I got a fair amount of things done yesterday. Pretty happy about that. Today is going to be more of the same. I've got a coaching call with the FLA team. I have I got into Noah Kagan's like Slack group, which is calling the Underdogs, and really cool network in there. And I was like, hey guys, I like to network, and everybody else was like, hey, we like to network as well. You guys want to Zoom? And so we're gonna like actually do some networking. Like, not everybody has their walls up, which is fantastic. Yeah. And then I have then I've got the mastermind group. I have a digital coffee with somebody. There's a warm introduction from somebody else. Sales lab this afternoon with a couple of guests coming back. And then I have a call at 4. Who is that with? Oh, I think another one of the guys from that group. And yeah, got a couple of new prospects and from LinkedIn to follow up with. So kind of a big day. It's kind of a big week, right? It's nice to have like some momentum and things to do when most people are like, let's just shut it down because no one's having sales conversations. That's not true. That's not true. Maybe you're not. But
I had one yesterday, so it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to figure out a way to like show this, but I sent Jake a couple of screenshots of a conversation that I was having in a DM, and you can see that it goes from very like, just like short. And the next screenshot, mine is short and his is
long,
super long. And I'm like, there's the pain. There it is. Right.
Yeah.
And then there's like 3 more screenshots continuing the conversation. And every one of these things is me with like the smallest thing, just a question, and then pain, question, pain.
Yeah.
And, that's important, right? Because now we get to have a real conversation about what he needs, why it's important, how much can he afford to like put towards this to like make sure that he's not having these problems in the future, right? All these people are selling around like ROI and everything, but here's the deal. People don't move towards pleasure as quickly as they move away from pain. So when you can talk about the gaps and the pain points and how is that showing up in your world? How is that impacting the other departments? How is that impacting your life? When you can talk about that stuff and they're doing the ones that are doing the same, you're not putting the words into their mouth like a bad salesperson, your conversations are easier, right? We are significantly more wired towards getting away from pain than we are moving towards pleasure. So
in the formula, how would you put this together? Because StoryBrand has one way to do it, right? Which is bring up the pain, start with the pain, agitate the pain, and then move them towards the pleasure. And this all happens before close. Because the pain starts the conversation and makes it relevant maybe to the person on the other side from you. Like all of a sudden, okay, yeah, this is relevant to me. This is something I'm interested in investing some time in, is talking about this because it's painful. Yeah. Then, so in that transitionary period, when you go from pain to pleasure, or let's go aspiration, right? Like this is how I would love for it to be. What's that handoff look like for you in a conversation typically? What's when you flip the switch?
So
is there a timing you're looking for, or a particular set of things that they have? Like, I guess where I'm really trying to get to, right, is when have you exhausted the pain and now you're just digging? You're not actually moving the conversation.
That's fair. So the way that I normally will do it, right, is, and this is kind of the things that I talk about, right, when a question is too hard to be asked because you're just going to get lied to, that's when you turn it into a story about somebody else. So that way that this other person doesn't have to admit to you that, that they're not closing as many deals as they want, but they can have some rapport and they can identify with someone else who has done it. And that makes it easier for them to admit it to you. When you show up and you're like, well, don't you want better leads? No, man, I'm good. Right? It's too easy to say no to that question. And then, boop, right? And better is a feature and a benefit. But here's the deal. We don't really know what better means to this person, right? And you can make a bunch of assumptions, right? Stop making assumptions about the people you're talking to because you don't like it when assumptions are made about you. Weird. And so when we're talking about that, like, hey, as opposed to talking about better leads, let's talk about the fact that some people don't like the lead quality that they're getting. Jake, some of the people that I talked to were frustrated because they worked with a lead gen agency or a lead gen provider or someone who's supposed to be providing them leads, and they weren't really happy with what they were getting. Has that ever happened with you? Right? And yes, that question's super lightweight because it is a very lightweight question. Other people have said this thing. I'm not asking you if you particularly have done this thing, and I'm allowing you to hide in the crowd, right? So psychologically speaking, you get to insert yourself in this crowd of other people who have the same problem, which makes it easier for you to admit it to someone who maybe you don't have as much trust with yet. And then we get to have the real conversation about it. And that's the really important thing, right? Is that it, because when you can make that first question so light, that top of funnel question, right? That, to me, this is just like the SEO play of like, look, they're looking for you here. What question are they asking before they start looking for you? And write content about this question back here. So that way they're seeing your stuff when they're first asking the question, right? So not like, what CRM should I get? Okay, what question do you need, or do you ask before you start asking which CRM do I get? Do I need a CRM?
Right.
Okay. Why am I dropping the ball? Why am I not closing as many deals? Right. And so when you're creating content about the earlier questions, right, you have the potential to get in front of these people before they're looking at like Salesforce versus HubSpot versus Zoho versus all these other things, because you got them before anybody else did. And to me, like that's content marketing, right? In my opinion.
Yeah. So so when you're talking about, taking the stuff before so you can get into that lightweight conversation, and then you have the lightweight conversation, is it when you have figured out what their actual better leads looks like, that actually told you what that looks like, that you then start transitioning into, I mean, you get the pain. Why is that painful? What are you losing because of that? What would happen if that was fixed? Okay. Is that where you flip over to, like, now that they've described it to you in their terms and told you what they're missing?
So there's two things that I'm looking for in that kind of transition. One, I'm looking to see if there's emotion involved in the conversation on their behalf, right? Because if they're not emotionally invested in this conversation, it is an intellectual conversation. When it's an intellectual conversation, you are a number on a piece of paper to be compared to somebody else, and you're never go. I just posted this last night. You're never going to win that game, because go look at Upwork, right? You're going to find someone who's going to do this for a fraction of the price that you can, because they're in a country that allows them to do so. And you do that when you make it about price, right? Just take a look at this. Once you see at this price, we have a deal going on, or offer right now, all of these things. Okay. So offers and deals are fine. I have no problem with that. But like, this is an emotion filled thing, right? And trust requires emotion, right? You can't trust someone that you're ambivalent about, because you were therefore ambivalent about that person. So we have to like build that trust, and that doesn't happen until we start to get their emotions involved in the conversation, right? Because until that happens, right? And you can see it in these text messages, right? These long text messages, right? But between me and this prospect, like, he's now emotionally invested. He can't figure this thing out. And you can tell that because this guy's a D. This guy's a straight D, right? And if you listen to the podcast and you look at these like texts, you can know with absolute certainty that Clint is not going to send that kind of stuff to someone unless he really trusts them and views them as someone who might be able to help in a situation. So I'm looking for that emotionality in the conversation. I'm also looking for, do I have a couple of pain points, right? And do I have impact of those pain points, right? If it doesn't show up on their radar as something that could professionally or personally mess with them, it's still a nice to have as well, right? So what's the impact of not making a change? So
yeah.
That's what I'm looking for, right? Because like, when you're looking for like pain points and all that stuff, it's the messiest section of the sales conversation, right? When you're doing it right, because it's not about you, it's about the other person. So that way you can figure out what's important to them and then present to them around the points that they're concerned about. Don't just take the same slide deck into every one of your conversations and just like pitch on the same points If they're concerned about reporting, you talk about reporting. If they're concerned about communication, you talk about communication. If they're talking about like ad spend and management and transparency, you talk about ad spend and management and transparency, right? Like they bring this stuff up as concerns when you're discovering their pain for a reason. Talk about it. Like this to me is second nature. So, but I've got a lot of reps and a lot of practice at it now, so it's not fair to like just do that. But it's astounding to me whenever I'm like, God, just one more question. If you just ask the next question, is that really a big deal? Is that something you're really committed to fixing? What happens if you don't fix it? How much is that costing you? Right? Whatever question that is, to get them to commit to, yes, there's impact of this thing in my world, professionally or personally. I must fix it. Okay, great. Let's talk about fixing that for you. You know.
Yeah, I think that's what, when you hear some people say, well, just become a better listener. That's where a lot of people don't connect the dots. Like that is being a good listener part.
That is everything.
You don't steer the conversation. You're listening for their points of pain and unpacking that with them, not looking to sell your points. Power.
Exactly. If you hear a pain point and you immediately start thinking like, yeah, I got this guy, you're wrong. You're wrong, right? Because you got what you needed, and now you've turned into this like, smart ass kid essentially. Got one, right? No, like why are you like, you have to maintain that you want to be of value and help throughout the whole conversation, right? Mm-hmm. Because so much of what's happening in conversations is nonverbal, right? Your tone, your cadence, right? Your language, the frame, all of this stuff. So we have to be incredibly mindful about that. Now, here's you got me all ramped up talking about a sales topic, and I have to go. And I'm 2 minutes and 45 seconds late. I'm going to tell Levi it's your fault because you got me talking about pain, which is my favorite subject to talk about, because it's very hard for me to like want to dive into this stuff with people who I don't know and care about, but I have to. So,
Okay, Levi, I'm going to own this one today, but just because I kept digging.
I love how like you and Levi have this like
romance.
Tumultuous relationship is what I was going to call it, right?
Okay, tumultuous.
I just find it funny from my view.
Exactly. All right,
Jake, hold on. This is what Levi's doing right now. He's going, Jake. I'm a little confused.
Hopefully, I hope that's what he's doing. I mean, he's like, send me the bill. Send me the bill, Levi. That's all I can say. I'll pay 4 minutes, whatever they are.
Awesome. All right, man. We didn't really talk about today. Do you have anything going on today that you're going to struggle with?
Leave that up because that's going to be our screenshot today.
Levi Oliver making it into the thumbnail.
Long thumbnail going today. You know what? I'm gonna have a tumultuous distance bromance going on today. It's really what I'm working on. No, I'm heads down today. I've got writing. I've got client work. This is the last big week of work. Part of the year. So people have momentum still, but that I'm working with, so I'm taking advantage, and that's what we're gonna do.
Okay. Awesome. All right. I guess we should talk about next week at some point, but not today because I got to go talk with these other folks. But we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Levi. Thanks for your patience, man. And I will see you in the morning, Bill.
See y'all.
See you, big sir. Go get it. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.